That's what I mean.
agree with you. I don't think it can go below this.
I don't think that it can go. I think that they've really hit rock bottom on this one.
Are there any holidays this weekend? Let me check. No, there's not. Okay. 1-8.
Groundhog Day. I don't know.
I give it a 1-8.
They still got the basketball they're going against, so it's not going to, I mean, and so they're not going to go up a whole hell of a lot. Let me see. There was something else that I was going to bring up. Oh, the Mushnick thing. We listened to it after the show, and Phil Mushnick did not do very well.
I mean, it wasn't so much what he said; it's the way he said it.
No, it was.
He came off exactly what everybody wants him to come off as.
Yep. Actually, it was. What's funny about it was in 1 week, like in the McMahon thing. When Vince McMahon was on with Bob Costas, it really wasn't. I mean, there were things he said that you could go, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of, there were certain things. I mean, in this week's Observer, I kind of ran through all that. But nevertheless, if he was very calm and Bob Costas was very calm and they were just discussing it and they actually used the same words and Vince didn't do the, don't get in my face and, you know what I mean? All that stuff. Vince would not have come off bad because, in the XFL thing, which actually was, the XFL was the one where he, no, I shouldn't say that because they brought up that whole, Trish Stratus thing was a real tough one. That was a tough one to defend under any circumstances. But anyway, the point of all this is that he would have come off all right. And if Phil Mushnick had brought up the same points that he brought up, but he was calm and everything, I don't think he would have come off that bad. And Vince McMahon was totally calm, and he had every right to be because all he had to do was keep his mouth shut. And the delivery of Phil Mushnick was just burying Phil Mushnick. I mean, if you listen, one thing, it's, for the public, it's not the points. It's one of the, I always like to say, okay, let's look at the points one by one. But for the general public, it's not the points. It's who's the calm one in the situation and who's the one who gets out of control. And, Phil Mushnick was out of control from the first second on that phone call, and he did himself a terrible disservice. Believe me, because, you're right. He came off like everybody wished he would.
Yeah. And,
that's not good because it basically kills the points, whether they're good ones or bad ones. And anyway, we've been through that. Let's see. This is from anything else to get to before we start hitting emails?
What about SmackDown?
We could talk about SmackDown. It was a better show probably on television than live. But I was hitting that fast. I watched on tape, and I was hitting that fast forward button a lot last night, more than any SmackDown. What? More than any SmackDown I can remember.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching it, and every time I hit the fast-forward button, I was like, I can completely understand these people that paid money to sit in the crowd, why they would be angry. But, what I did fast-forward through, I liked.
I thought the Rock Austin thing was too long. I didn't dislike it, but I thought it was a little long. The main event was a good match, like every WWF main event is. Wasn't like classic. I kind of like the slow tease of Angle and Benoit, but if they were going to do that, they probably should have done about 4 weeks ago.
Yes, exactly. The one thing, too, watching the Rock and Austin interview with Jim Ross was, it was like Austin, it was just like I was talking about the other day, he came off as like this badass that just didn't care. And Rock, they had a couple of camera shots of Rock where he's looking at Austin in just the most weaselly manner, and he just came off like such a prick. And I thought, I can completely see more than ever now why people are going to cheer Austin. He's just
that's why they had Vince do that thing last night was because they felt it was basically Vince felt he needed to sacrifice himself to make sure that Rock got a big babyface pop.
Yeah, and I think it kind of worked what they did with Austin sitting there and getting up like he's going to leave and then coming back with a beer.
With a beer, yeah.
But that's what Austin's supposed to do. Well.
Yeah, that's actually an angle that I figured that was a Pat Patterson angle because I saw that one as a kid out here. That exact angle, not the exact angle of someone sitting there with a beer, but when Don Morocco first did his heel turn on Pat Patterson, what it was his couple of heels, and I wish I remember who they were. I'm tending to think that one of them was an invader, some masked dude, and I don't even know who the other one was at the time. But anyway, 2 heels, maybe they were both invaders. But anyway, they're beating on Pat Patterson. And Don Morocco was like there, and like he comes out to do a run-in, okay? Like, and you just expect he's going to make the save, and then just stands there and kind of walks around the ring. And that was the beginning of the turn, and I thought that was like so clever because, when someone's going to turn, you know that what they do is they'll do the run in, they'll look like they're going to help you, and then they're going to join in for the beatdown, right? And I thought that by not doing it, it was just, and you know what? And it was far more effective than doing that one, which is the traditional way of doing it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what it reminded me of. I thought Spike Dudley looked really good last night in that 6-man.
I felt really bad for Spike, though.
He's going to take a lot of pressure.
I mean, what a role. The role is to just get beaten on the whole match, and then you make the hot tag, and then you get beaten on afterwards.
Yeah. Rhino definitely looked small in there.
He did.
You know,
he's kind of like
Ben
White, doesn't wrestle small. Of course, he has
true.
Spike Dudley to be brutalizing him there, so.
Yes. But the one thing with Spike, though, Spike did all that stuff in ECW for far less money.
Mm-hmm.
So at least, you know, yeah, he's gonna take a pounding, but it can't be any worse. I mean, he's not gonna be jumping off balconies like he did in ECW either.
No.
So, you know, I mean, it's better for him. It's better for him in the long run. But yeah, he's gonna be, you know, getting pounded on. I'm trying to think of anything else. Just too many videos, too much XFL. The videos are good, just too many.
Just too many, and they go on forever.
Yeah. I mean, the Rock Austin stuff, I love those videos. I love them. But between that and the interview and the other videos, I mean, I was just zap, 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 you know.
You know what I thought was also kind of really strange last night was Hunter attacks The Undertaker, hits him with the sledgehammer or whatever. Undertaker bleeds. And then they have like 3 shots. One shot is color with blood everywhere. Then they have the second shot in color where it's digitized, which actually looked even more gruesome. And then they have the third shot in black and white. And it was just something weird about how you'd have the 2 extra shots, even though you'd already shown the 1 shot of him bleeding in color.
Mm. The show did a 4.2 rating, which is, I would have to say, disappointing because Friends was in reruns. There's no Survivor. You know, they did have the NCAAs against them, but that draws about half of what Survivor does. So the competition, this was the easiest night of competition in a long time. So, anyway. Let me see. Let me get to some of this. Is Limp Bizkit playing at WrestleMania? Those Rock Austin commercials with the Limp Bizkit song are awesome. Not that I know of. But I think the videos are really good. Let's see. This is going to be the most anticipated Monday night in the history of wrestling. This is not from Tony Schiavone either. 1 week from WrestleMania, the final Nitro. My question is, do you know some of the guys in the WWF is interested in right away that they would bring in to kick off the new WCW? I mean, I think pretty much everyone's going to be there. That was planned to be there. And I don't know, Shane's going to go there or if someone from WWF will go there. I expect they'll have some influence on the show, though. So whatever plans there were for the show are probably all going to be changed. And as far as
does anybody whose contract was picked up know that it's been picked up?
That I do not know. In fact, I would say they don't. I would think nobody knows because that's all stuff that was talked about yesterday. I mean, no one would have been contacted yet unless, until the sale was announced.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'll probably start contacting people. I guess the first interaction would be Monday.
Mm-hmm.
When they go down there. If they go down there. Because I have a short list that goes, here's the list I've heard about. I guess it was the list of guys who they would bring in or kick off. Booker T. Booker T's contract was not picked up, but I am sure they will offer him a deal. Shane Helms' contract will be picked up, I'm almost sure. Again, these decisions have not been finalized internally even, but I would expect that just because I know he doesn't have a big deal. Chuck Palumbo, I cannot imagine them not taking Chuck Palumbo just because of the potential there. Sean O'Hare, same thing that I just said, and Chavo Guerrero Jr. I'm sure they'll take. So, anyway, and probably except for Booker T, I would guess that all of their contracts will be picked up.
What about Rick Steiner?
But not Rich Steiner. The thing with that also, though, is, the contracts are going to be picked up. That every contract, I'm told, that will be picked up will have a 90-day cycle, and every one of those will be cycled out, and then Jim Ross will have to renegotiate. Basically, everyone there is going to have their contract renegotiated. Either they're not going to be picked up at all, they'll be free agents today because they don't want to pay them, big money for short term, or the ones that have a certain guarantee, but it's not huge money, they will pay them that money and then cycle them out and then renegotiate them on the terms that the WWF wants. So basically, like we said before, if someone was out there, there's almost any piece of talent, if they wanted them bad enough and wanted to bid enough for them, and WWF will not get in a bidding war over anyone, you actually could get anyone and everyone if you really wanted it bad enough. But that's not, again, it's not going to happen.
Well, if they've got 90 days, I don't even know when the next cycle ends, but You know, WWF a lot of times will be renegotiating before anything happens, so they could have everybody renegotiated and basically signed before that cycle even ends.
No, but I'm saying if someone was out there and the word was they were out there willing to spend money, the guys in that thing during that 90-day period can just sit, let it run out, and then go. It's not like they're tied for life. I mean, like, yeah, if WWF signs them, of course, then they would be locked in. I'm just saying, if you wanted to, the theoretical opening is there. But again, I don't want to act like it's going to happen because it's not. Let's see. Do you think that Vampiro and Conan will be kept with the company? No. Let's see. I mean, it's a possibility, but I would guess on the negative side. Let's see. Jack Davis says, did Dustin Runnels leave the WWF on good terms? Not particularly, no. If so, now that the sale of WCW to WWF is final, do you think they'll bring the Goldust character back and maybe the angle of him being behind GTV?
Hey, maybe he'll be in the Battle Royal on Sunday.
Yeah. I would